Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elcon, and welcome to Wednesday's edition of Pre-Market Info.
And Wednesday's edition of Premarket Info is much different than when Tuesday's edition of Premarket Info because, unlike yesterday where we had the huge rally, we sold off in the afternoon yesterday and we have followed through and we are back down to where we were when me and you made our bet, Joel.
Right, and I offered you a buyout yesterday,
Yeah, you
a 12
did.
pack,
Oh, I'm
which
kicking myself. So yeah, so just to recap, me and Joel, we were betting beer, and we usually bet one beer, but we bet a case of beer. Back when the market was at 1640, the S&P futures, I was still bullish. I thought we could get to 1680. Joel, the eternal bear, thought we were going to 1600. So we made the bet on the case of beer. Got to 1672 yesterday. I think that was right up at the high. And at that time, Joel's like, "Look, if you want, I'll give you a 12 pack and I'll let you, out of the bet." And I was like, nah, it's going the other 8 points. I'm going to get the full case of beer. Here we are, back where we started the bet, and I'm regretting not taking your 12 pack offer.
Yeah, I rarely offer a buyout. I'm very, stick to my guns here. But we're back down, and you know what, Dennis? There's talk about, this QE and this, the strong data coming out, and we've been talking about on the show for a while that the market will turn when finally the government turns off the spigot. And now they're actually talking about it, and they're sending a lot of worries through the market. But just a quick recap of the S&P, we are trading through yesterday's low, which was 1644 and a quarter. I don't see a lot of support until you get down to that double bottom that we made last week in the lower 1630 handle, but that's another 10 points away from here.
Yeah, I think you will find some support there, but yesterday I still had my bull cap on. Today I'm very nervous, simply because we didn't make a new high on the overall move there, and to give that back as quickly as we did, that shook a lot of longs up, I'll tell you that. A lot of people probably nervous here that we're holding stocks because it was a pretty quick sell-off and pretty unexpected. I mean, at one point yesterday we were up over 200 Dow points, and gave a lot of it back. We did bounce towards the end of the day, but that was all we got. And obviously the follow-through selling pressure here today, I think, will make the longs a little bit nervous. That being said, you've actually got gold here trading up today. Whenever the market is, they get nervous. It seems like gold does get a lift, and it's had this crazy consolidation right under 1400 here. We've consolidated for the better part of 2 weeks. Are we going to eventually take that 1400 out here? We're just going to keep kissing up against it and failing.
I like the formation here. I hit 1401 yesterday and only been able to hit 1393.80 here so far in today's session. But you know what's going to happen with this gold? It's just going to hover under here, and then one day you're going to come in and it's going to be at like 1460, and you're going to say, "Oh crap, why
That'll be
didn't
when
I
the
buy
market
it when I
crashes.
was?" Yeah, yeah, when it's under. But still, the bears are still in control of the gold here as long as we stay under 1400. But you're right. Also, some crazy consolidation here too. Last three trading sessions, basically gold in a little over a $20 range. Very rare for gold.
And what we needed to see on Apple yesterday, what we talked about on the show, we wanted to see it get over 450 and start to run. It did not do that. It got and opened over 450, but quickly gave the move back, went under 450. When it did that, I actually did put a short on just because it was. I looked at it about, maybe this was about 10 o'clock. It had poor relative strength, being barely up on the day when the market was up so much. I'm like, it didn't hold 450. We saw this before, where sometimes the market gets strong and Apple doesn't participate. So I had in my head that Apple's going to have a weak day. I ended up selling, I think, around 447. It went all the way up to like 449 and a half on me or something like that. So it went about $2.50 against me. Came back down to basically where I shorted it. Basically, I lost, I think, 50 cents on the trade. I covered it, stupid me, because I was down $2.50, and I was like, oh well, now it's offering me basically a scratch. I better just get out. And after that, obviously, just collapsed. So I wish I would have just held to my guns, because we're down almost $10 from where I shorted it yesterday.
Yeah, good risk reward there, Dennis.
Should have held.
No,
Should have held.
the opposite thing for me. Like a dummy here. I played the weeklies way far out on this, and really the open was a gift. I had some profit in it when I was looking at the hold the 450 level, and boy, it didn't, and I scrambled to get out of those things, and I'm sure glad I did. They're basically going to go off the board worthless, but that open was a gift and just wasn't quick enough. But we're through Friday and Tuesday's lows at 440 in the mid 440 handle. That should be good resistance. See a couple lows at 435.79 and 434.20, but if Apple really gets this retreat going, major support at the 7 and 8 day lows right around the 430 handle. And same thing with Google. I mean, that had the big up open and just couldn't hold
Yeah,
it.
nothing
Got
could
over
hold
the
yesterday.
890 level, and and I was watching those things going down, and the spoos were just still holding, and it just probably would have been a good signal to hop out short on the market. But two of the big guns yesterday gave a lot back off the open.
Yeah, they really did. And a lot of stocks, a lot of financials gave a lot of their gains back too, and they are weaker here today too. Let's go to Facebook though, because we haven't talked about Facebook on the show in a while. It's
Whew.
trading down here again, but this has been an ugly run here for Facebook after putting in almost a double top, just above $29 there. I think everybody's starting to get a little bit, more nervous here. Obviously, it sold off 5 points here in the last month, so it was an ugly May. Where May was pretty good for a lot of stocks, it wasn't good for Facebook.
Wow, down 8 out of the last 9 trading sessions here, falling a cliff off the 2650. That 25 area, which was the 50% retracement of the major move that it had, that is now history. So if you're holding on to a short on this, just getting back above that 25 level is what I would think about. Boy, when you see these kind of consecutive strings of down sessions, you got to be looking for some kind of bottom here, but we'll go. Going to have to go out to the weekly to try and find some support in this.
Scary.
Yesterday, yeah, 23.92 was yesterday's low here. If Facebook can't, make a double bottom here or within 15-20 cents or whatever, what do you see between 24 and 22?
Uh,
I mean, not a whole lot in there.
I don't like the stock technically. I've never liked the stock fundamentally. I've always, I've been saying that for a while. This whole mobile ads thing, just from my Facebook experiences here, I find them very annoying, and I think it's turning off a little bit of the customer base. So it's like I've been saying, short-term gain for long-term pain, because these ads are mixed in with pictures, and it's your friend likes McDonald's and all this other stuff. I just find it more as spamming me now. Or you're going on Facebook before, and now you seem to be getting spammed left and right, and I think it's going to turn the users off, and I think the stock's starting to reflect that as well. Do have some earnings here today. Coors, Kors, Michael Coors, 63.50. It's actually trading up here now. It's had a pretty wild after hours. They reported 50 cents versus 39. The revenue beat as well, 597 million versus 594. Initially sold off under 60 bucks and spiked up, and now we're trading higher. So it's kind of been like a yo-yo here today.
Right, the high in the pre-market, wow, someone got real carried away here, 64.42. Finally put the brakes on it. This was a little after the 7 o'clock hour here. And now, since trading down to that level, supported 61.11. Let's try and get a little bit better perspective here on this. 63.03 has been the high of the move so far, trading well above that. Or not well above it, 70 cents above it. So I'd use that as minor support. If it falls back under 63 here, I think we'd have to take a hard look at the long side here. I believe this stock has just been on a tear since its IPO. Actually, you do have a level up
Weekly,
here.
yeah, on the weeklies, you've got a 65 level there, Joe. We had a high, I'm just going back and grabbing it off my chart as well. On February 12th, we had a high of 64.80, and then on February 19th, we had a high of 65.10. Kind of a double top. Call that whole area 65, I'd call that major resistance. So I think
Yeah, I don't
if the rally
know
continues
if it
another
has.
buck, I think you're going to find some sellers up in that area. Also, we've got here reporting this morning is TSL, which is Trina Solar. They missed estimates here. They were supposed to lose 70 cents, losing 90 cents. The stock is trading down a buck here. Pretty substantial move down for a stock that has actually been performing pretty well lately.
Just hit a low of 581, now getting a little bounce back up to the $6 level. This stock kind of riding the coattails of the other big wigs. Had a nice rally up from under the $4 level just a little back in April. So a little bit of a pullback here. Did have a low at 565 on May 23rd, the pre-market low in that area at 580. So you can look at that area as support. At below that, major support at the 533 and 535 level. Had a couple lows back in the middle of the month at that area. So a couple support points, giving back some of those huge gains. And since we're looking at that, let's see if it's having a dimming effect on these other solar stocks. First Solar's down a stick here. Holding the 50 level real nicely over the last couple sessions, couple dips under it, but under 50, and there's not a lot of real estate here to lean on down to the $45 level.
We're still waiting on the Dollar General earnings, so if those break, Jake will cut in with those. BMO reported, which is one of your big Canadian banks, the Bank of Montreal, BMO. They reported earnings of $1.46 versus $1.50 estimate, so they actually missed. Stock is just offered down here, 61.16, has traded down to 60.88, so that's traded down as much as 35 cents. This is a thick Canadian stock. Usually these things don't move more than a buck or two, but it is on earnings here. And I'm looking, if I'm looking at the charts here, you had a low back on the 17th of 59.63. I don't think you're going to sniff that low here today, though.
Yeah, don't ignore the double bottom at 60.49 and 60.50 back earlier in the month on the 21st and the 23rd. So that looks like good support to me. Below that, it could be looking at a nice round number, the $60 level. And if by any chance this thing can rally 60, 70 cents and get above 61.50, you had four consecutive highs between 61.60 and 61.72. So got some defined support resistance in BMO.
Uh, Smithfield Foods looks like it's going to be possibly acquired here, SFD, by China's Southway. They're saying $34 a share in cash here. Obviously, stock did tick up over there, but now it looks like they're giving a little bit of risk premium here. It's trading at 32.80 on 3.2 million shares, so huge volume here for Smithfield Foods. Stuff like this has been rumored. It was rumored back in March when the stock got a pretty good lift that it might be in play. Obviously, that did turn out to be the case, so if you're long, congratulations. Today's payday as the stock is up here over $7 in the pre-market.
Yeah, initially it got the 34.50 on the news when it initially came out. Has settled back down to make a low at 32.40. So there obviously is a little skepticism about this deal going off at $34. Once again, Warren got the ball rolling with these,
Food
with the
takeovers.
Heinz thing. Yeah, so if you were playing all the food stocks and you were playing this one is in the takeover mode, it's paying off for you today.
You wonder if you could see some strength in some of the other ones that are similar. You've got like Hormel Foods, which is HRL. That stock actually is bid up right now. No trades to report, but it's bid at 41.80. So somebody's trying to bid it up on a sympathy play there when we're down 8 points. Obviously, it looks like it's possibly going to open higher. So keep an eye. Tyson Foods is another one. TSN, that is bid up here this morning as well, 25.90. So that's actually bid up over $1. So that's a pretty big bid up there on Tyson Foods after closing 24.81. So it does look like some of these other food stocks could get a sympathy move here. GIS you've got up there, which is a little bit bigger company, General Mills. I don't know if that'll have as much of a move as the Hormel and the Tyson, but you never know. It could cycle into some of the other food stocks as well. Also here, Joel, we wanted to talk about Tesla. It's over $100. I mean, this stock just keeps on rolling. And we were saying how Facebook had a bad May. Well, Tesla had an awesome May. The stock started May down around $50. It's now 110. So it's basically over doubled here in the last month. There's just no stopping this thing. It just keeps flying, flying. Every time it gets a little bit of a pullback, more buyers, more shorts are getting squeezed. I mean, this is just your classic momentum trade here. Who knows? Fundamentally speaking, or from a valuation perspective, does it make sense at this pricing? I don't know. But all I do know is that the trend is your friend if you're long this thing, and all the momentum seems to continue higher. It will top out. It will somewhere, but who knows where that is?
Right. It even had more follow through after the market closed. It got above the 112 area. In fact, ticked all the way up to 112.50. So that's a parameter on the upside. Keep an eye on. Since hitting that level, it's come down to 108.30, 108.50, a couple lows there. I'd keep an eye on that. I mean, if you're really just trying to protect some longs here, I'd keep an eye on the 108 level. If you're trying to short this thing, just do it with good risk reward ratios. Put your stops in. I mean, on this thing, at least if you're playing the puts on it, at least you know what your loss is going to. You can limit your loss. You certainly,
So
it's
expensive
shorting this
though.
thing. Yeah, I mean,
That's
it's just the calls, the premiums probably real hyped up on this
it's
thing.
crazy.
I just, I had, one of our traders, asking me for my opinion on this, and I just, it's just one of these things where a lot of people are like deer in headlights, and in the short term traders that get in here, that sniff out a big sell order. They're stepping in front of it, and if they can get 15, 20 cents, they don't care. They just want to get their scalp. So you get a lot of short term buyers in here that really have
They
really
can press
no
it.
true. Yeah, yep,
Y-
and that's what's going on. But keep an eye on 110.75. That was yesterday's high, and 112.50 was a high in the pre-market.
And that's the market we are in now. We are in a high frequency trading world. We are, and a lot of these high frequency traders do run almost like momentum systems, where they're buying stocks, and if the stocks, and if there's other buyers in the market, they're trying to step ahead of those buyers. So it actually adds more and more pressure. And what it does is it exaggerates moves. So that's why I've been saying, on the show, we've been saying it for a while, that you've got to kind of go with the momentum. That's the kind of the market that we're in. When the momentum turns, it's an excellent opportunity, and being able to identify when it turns is obviously good too. But sometimes these things can go for a long time. Like, I mean, look at Netflix. That's been out.
Yep.
It had a bad day yesterday for the first time, because I think there was rumors kicking around that there might be a secondary or something. Those were just rumors, but that's why the stock was selling off significantly yesterday. But here was a stock that was trading down at 50 or 60 bucks last year. It went to 100, and everybody's like, well, it has to pull back. Well, no, and then it had the earnings, and it gapped up to 140, gap and go, basically ran to 200, consolidated for 3 months, and then gap and go basically again. So this stock is just another classic example of that. The market can stay irrational much longer than you can stay solvent, and you've got to be careful, and you need to have outs. Always identify, if the trade goes wrong, where am I getting out? Have a contingency plan. Don't let stocks just start blowing against you, especially if you short it. Imagine shorting this thing at 100 and now 214. Well, your risk return was right out the window on that one, because the most you could have made was 100 points, and you're down 114. So you just got to be very careful in this high frequency trading world, because moves get extended.
Right, and you had this period of consolidation here, and then it just faked everybody out that it was going to go down and fill that gap area. Major support under 210 here comes in at 204.02. That would be an area to keep an eye on. Bad day yesterday, already trading through yesterday's low at 212.98 in the close. So I think now if you get a rally in this thing, I think sellers are going to be stepping out, at the half and whole numbers. But below, until we can break down below 204.02, we got our bids waiting for that gap to get filled, right, Dennis?
Yeah, I don't know if I got my bids out there, but if the stock started getting into that gap area, I might get excited to try some shorts. It's got a little ways to get there, though. We'll see. I'm always a fan. You know me. I love my 2 day moves. So, I'm probably leaning on, more of a short perspective on this than a long perspective, because I do like, my 2 day moves, and I often think that that it just doesn't, everybody doesn't get out that wants out in one day. Joel, overall market thoughts here. We've rallied back a couple of points since we started the show, 1645.75. We seem to be finding a little bit of support down at the low overnight, which was 1641.75. I'm kind of skeptical here, just because, again, I like my 2 day move here. You had the pull in the back yesterday. Now you're getting some follow through here today. I think you could see maybe that 1632 area you were talking about.
Everyone, the market was way up yesterday, and everyone was all bullish, and I fell into that trap as well. And the market ended up making a high, and ended up tanking, and now we're trading, significantly down, almost 10 points in the S&P. So I don't know. I'm going to keep an eye. I don't have a significant number at the Globex low, 1641.75, but I'm going to keep a real close eye on that. If that's not taken out, pretty significantly by a couple points early in the session, I think that maybe look for a low risk buy off those levels. But below that, you do have Friday's low at 1634.50, and I think if we start to creep back into the 1650 handle, nice round number like 1650, you start to find some resistance.
That's our show for today, guys. Have a great trading day, and we will be back with you tomorrow.